Hello and welcome to Exclusives with Afolasade. My name is Afolasade Samagbeyi and I am your host. Today I have somebody very special to my heart on set with me. She is a transformational catalyst who is in the business of equipping a new breed of African visionaries to rise and enthrone the continent into global prominence through our coaching, cultivating, consulting and capacity building. Ladies and gentlemen, Debola Deji-Kurunmi, popularly known as DDK. Thank you very much for granting this interview. So, all this nomenclature, executive director, she's the founder, she's the... I know you're a very busy person because I've been meaning to do this interview with you for a very long time. So, what's a typical day in DDK's life like?
That's a good question. So my days are sort of delineated along the lines of my different expressions. So I've got days that I focus on my coaching work. I've got days that I focus on my ministry work. I've got days that I focus on my social impact work. So I typically have days specified in a week for the different visionary expressions I have. But I would typically, whatever the day looks like, start off with a time of private devotion with the Lord. I will sometimes, if I'm disciplined enough, I will do my exercises and make some good movements. And then, of course, after my time of devotion, I set my kids up for school. And that means the world to me. It's an important part of how I start my day, putting the right values in their minds, their confessions, their breakfast, and then they're off to school. I go back for my exercises, and then I typically will start the day depending on what that day is about. If it's Monday, that's my Sabbath, I would typically just be spend a lot of time retreating, resting, thinking.
Wow, Monday's your Sabbath? Wow.
Yes, because my weekends are really busy. My Saturdays and Sundays are a lot of speaking engagements, preaching. So Monday is my own way of starting the week, is just sort of stepping back, introspecting, giving thanks, and planning the week.
Wow, what a day.
I tell you.
So, who was Debola before Deji-Kurunmi?
I love it. I love that so much. Debola before Deji-Kurunmi, always loved the Lord. I received the life of Christ when I was 10 years old. Yes.
Oh, wow.
So I've had a relationship with God for a long time. I've always been visionary. I've always carried a desire to make a meaning in the world. My operating system has always been love. Truly. My parents and then God really infused my heart with a lot of love. I think about what my work could mean to others, the impact it could create for them, and how I could spread compassion and love in the world around me. So strong personality before Deji, after Deji, very driven, goal-oriented visionary. My operating system has always been love and compassion, generous and passionate about giving, especially to those who can give back to me. And then I've always had small circles. Even though I'm surrounded by so many people, I've always had very small, close-knit, intimate circles of friends and sisters in every season of my life. Very small circles.
So, this is intentional, right?
Yes, it is intentional. I can't handle too many people at a time.
So, has this always been like since when you were growing,
Yes.
since when you were a child?
Yes. In fact, my personality is really interesting. I have this public persona where, because of my calling and my assignment, I'm constantly, in the eye of people, engaging them, teaching, using the power of humor. But when I'm done with that, I literally just run back into my safe haven. In my personal life, even in my marriage, I am the less outgoing one. I'm the one who is very introspective. Sometimes I get overwhelmed by the crowd. I always need to recover from being with people. That's the truth. And many times on the outside, it confuses people because when we hang out, they're like, I just love your energy. And then they're calling me 2 weeks after and I'm not picking the call and I'm responding to the text message 1 week after. They're like, what's happening? Yeah.
Wow. So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Lagos, Nigeria.
In Lagos. Then you attended Obafemi Awolowo University.
Yes, the only university in Nigeria.
Woo! That's how we do it.
Yes.
What did you study?
I studied estate management.
Okay, estate management and what you're doing now.
I know.
I mean, it's so... Back then, your career path was not conventional.
So
you know,
good.
a lot of people say, I'd rather be an estate manager, you know, go into real estate, be a doctor,
yes,
an accountant, you know.
An engineer.
Yeah, so this your career path. How did it come to be? Did God say, okay, DDK, you must do this,
Okay.
be a coach, be a this? Like, I find it very interesting that somebody would do what you do, you know, and not think about to like get broke.
So good.
You know, did your parents have issues with it?
Right.
You know, I really want to know.
Okay, so I studied estate management for my first degree, and generally I still feel like my university days significantly prepared me, shaped me for a lot of things I'm doing today. When I graduated from the university, now from my third year, we had this, you know, this IT, this internship that you will have in your third year, and then we had it for a lengthier period in my fourth year. And 100% by the time I was done with that IT, I knew that I didn't want to practice the profession. It was so different from what we're taught in class. It was really different. I was taught real estate policy, real estate for national development, the land use charge, or the Land Use Act, how to make impact through tenancy agreements, the legal part of real estate. It was exciting. And then I get into the practice, and I know that this is not necessarily what obtains today anymore. But when I got into my IT, all that I was really doing at the time was collecting rents, and collecting rent from broke people who were always crying like, oh mommy Josh, I don't need. So I'm like, no, 100% this is not what I want to do. And then I found a mentor, and I always say that my journey has been significantly marked by the gift of mentorship. I found a mentor who had come to the school, to my university to speak, Mrs. Abisola Lunge, who is no longer my mentor, but now my mother. And she had come into the school to teach, to speak to us. I think I was in my second year. And I connected so much to her that I wrote her a letter, and I said, I just want to be with you. I want to learn from you. And I started to have holiday jobs with her. I will go over to her office. She was practicing, she still is practicing HR. And that was my introduction to this profession that felt so aligned to what I was born to be. Like, I love people. I want to make decisions that help them in the workplace. I love to facilitate, create training content. I'm like, so I can get paid for what I love. And that was my introduction to HR. So my first career path post-graduation was human capital development. And then I went through the entire value chain: performance management, competence-based recruitment, compensation and benefits training. And then I moved from Mrs. Longe's firm into Phillips Consulting, still core HR, and then a lot more learning. So transitioning into coaching isn't all that strange in career path I've taken. Coaching is just a more rigorous extraction from the whole human capital space, if you see what I mean. So that's the explanation for the work I do with coaching. And I could tell you many more stories about the other things I do, but this is how I describe it generally. I've just followed the path of passion, service, and revelation. That's the path I followed, the path of passion, service, and revelation. I've followed what burnt in my heart. I've always wanted to live ignited, and I'm living ignited. I'm living my dream.
Wow.
I love my life. I love what I'm doing. And then I've always followed the path of service. I want my life to be of great utility to others. And then God has led me. If He'll just show me this and say, take this path, I will take that path. And yeah,
Period.
So much is just still like
Period.
Yeah.
So back to one of the questions I asked. Your parents, were they cool with it?
Yes, they were cool with it. Let me tell you an interesting thing. It's not really about your profession, it's about the essence of your spirit. If I was in the fashion industry. I was a hairdresser. You know, I will be featured in global magazines. Anything that I do, I'm going to be great at it. Yeah, that's the truth.
I see.
It's the essence of your spirit, and everybody has that if you're going to put in the work. There's an approach that I take with everything that I do. I pour myself into it. I'm passionate about excellence. I'm committed to the process of growth, and I always seek to master my genius. So I've won awards from when I was like fresh in every career that I've placed my hands on. So my parents have confidence that this crazy girl,
As long as
yeah, she's gonna be fine. I've always given them confidence, and God has favored my path.
it's so interesting because you're the second person I'm interviewing on exclusives, and you're saying the same thing. Like,
Right.
because of how much because of how much they've done, their
Yeah.
parents are so confident
Yeah.
in their career paths.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you've been a World Bank project facilitator. What does that even mean? What does it entail?
Right.
Because I just hear it. I don't know what it is.
So that's simply around partnering with the World Bank, facilitating on the project. We had a project in Nigeria called the Lagos Eco Project, and it was a World Bank funded project in Lagos State that trained educators, school administrators, teachers on learning exchange and generally just improving the quality of education in the state. And my organization, Mrs. Longe's firm, HCDC, had won a grant. We had won, what's it called now, like an approval to be an implementer of that vision for Lagos State. And so we had schools that were allocated to us, and we handled the entire training and knowledge transfer. So it's just been the opportunity I've had to facilitate and train on World Bank projects in Nigeria.
Oh, was that what you taught us how to fry fish?
No, that's the one in Washington.
Oh,
Mandela Washington Fellowship.
Oh, what's that about too?
Okay, so the Mandela Washington Fellowship is President Obama's initiative, where he was highlighting and searching out promising African leaders, young African leaders, and in 2018 had been selected.
She's saying this with all humility. Let's clap for her.
Yes, so I had been selected as one of Africa's young promising leaders, and we were sponsored to American universities for executive education. At the end of that program, we got a chance to give what was called an Ignite talk, and I was selected as the best in my university in Minnesota, and then I presented it at Washington, and it went viral.
Viral.
Yeah.
'Cause I think I'd watched the video then I recently watched it again. Mind blowing. So you spoke about mentorship and how Mrs. Longe is still very, very involved in your life.
I love you, Mom. Yeah.
You have sent her a letter,
Yes.
so that people will not just think that once I send DDK an email, automatically that is it. So what were the processes, or what are the processes you think should be involved in you being a mentor or being a protege to somebody?
That's a great question, because mentorship is always going to be an important part of our growth and our development. Allow me to say that one of the first things that you want to knock off your quest for mentorship is to be in search of a big name, right? That's what a lot of people are doing today. They just want to use that mentorship relationship to grow their own credibility,
Wow.
or their street cred, you know, their social standing, like so and so.
As long as you're popping.
Yeah, like that's my mentor. That's not the goal. Mentorship is meant to be a vulnerable exchange of life and expertise, something that someone else is able to transfer to you because of the journey they've been on and the success they've accomplished. So the way that you choose a mentor is first by what is called that gap analysis between where you are and where you'd love to be. So if you're not even a visionary person, you shouldn't be in search of a mentor. You maybe should be in search of a big sis. Maybe you're feeling lonely. Find yourself a big sis who can pass you down some of our outfits and our jewelry. And it's not a problem. I do have aburos. You know, they're not necessarily ready for a mentorship relationship with me because my truth is hard. And they sometimes don't want hard truth. But they're my bros and I love them, and it's a different type of relationship. But if you're in search of mentorship, you must have a vision for your life. And then you must have an image of where you want to be. And you start to say, what kind of people do I need to be able to close the gap that I have? You see, and that's why you can have a mentor for your career and have a different mentor for your marriage, for example, because they have success in the area where you're seeking to grow. So that's the first big part. Be clear on what you're searching for and a person who can help you. The moment you're clear about that, you start to ask yourself, what is the degree of knowledge that they've already put out there? Because mentorship is about an exchange of knowledge, of expertise. So I have people that I consider to be my mentors, but I've never sat with them, because mentorship is not discipleship. And they're just all these different cadres to engagements in human relationships. If you could access mentorship by reading a person's book, listening to their podcast, following the YouTube channel, attending their conferences.
Yeah.
And you never sit in the room with them, but you're draining wisdom that is helping you move. You see. So that's the second level. What access do I have to their knowledge? At a third level is when you now start to say, if I do believe I'm meant to connect to this person personally, because I've already accessed their knowledge and I still want more, you're now asking, what value can I create for them? That is always a shortcut to mentorship. If you're able to create value for a mentor, they're going to look at you as an asset and they want to give you access. If you're an asset, you're likely to have access. If you're an asset, you're likely to have access. I'm going to just say one more thing so that I'm not just going on and on about it, because mentorship excites me. When you get into that relationship, you must ask yourself, what are the timelines? And understand the burden of pursuit. Your mentor is not your girlfriend. Oh, you didn't remember my birthday, you didn't post about my... No, the burden of pursuit is on the protege. You're the one who wants something. So you go for what you want. You see, and then mentorship is not marriage. You're not necessarily meant to have this person in your life forever and ever and ever. Some relationships don't have to evolve to other levels and other levels. It could be, I'm needing this person while I transition into a new career. And that's a 6-month period, a 1-year period. And then, you sort of move, but you don't burn the bridges. You keep those connections open, but not in an active mentorship way.
But a lot of people close their ears to mentorship because the whole idea to them is flawed. They've had instances where people have told them, or they've read that, oh, you're a mentor to this person, and it doesn't end well. So when they hear mentor, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
So what's your take on that? Have you ever had, that kind of a situation?
A situation where a mentorship relationship I had with a mentor didn't go well?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I have a rather radical view about life. So I don't feel like I get impacted the way many people get impacted. And I say with every sense of humility, every relationship has something to teach me. Every relationship has something to teach me. And not every relationship, how do I say that? Every relationship has a potential to hurt you. Because humans are flawed. You're flawed too. Do you see? But here's what I say. If you don't personally deal with trauma in your own life, you're going to struggle with any kind of relationship you're in. People have sensitivities because they have unresolved trauma. Everything too they pain you, too they touch you. So forgive and move on. Now, here is what I want to just add to it. If you have a great degree of personal or a sense of self-respect, you're going to be able to discern quickly if there is abuse in a relationship. If there is abuse in a relationship, I permit you to get out of it, because it will damage your soul. But if it's someone forgot my birthday, I don't like how they spoke to me, I feel like they didn't really appreciate the skills that I brought to the table, forgive and move on.
And move on.
Yeah,
keep it moving.
There's always something that is of value that you've gotten from that relationship as well.
Yeah, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
I attend GLT. Very passionate about women. I know that, and NGOs, and you have a structure in place to cater for them. Why? Because a lot of people say, I want to help people, but they don't even know how to go about it. They're not even done helping themselves, not talk of putting money to help people. So why? What's that driving force?
So the driving force for the work we do with the nonprofit sector is the understanding that in Africa, there are significant inefficiencies of market, leadership, and government. Those are key arenas of inefficiencies in African states, in African nations. And the truth is, the nonprofit sector is a gap filler. It will always be the second most significant engine of development for any aspiring nation, any nation seeking to grow, to be built up, to expand its capacity for transformation, you see. So think about it. Think about what NGOs do to help street children, what NGOs do to help orphans, what NGOs do to support public primary education, what NGOs do to support orientation on sexual abuse and domestic violence. Think about if we didn't have this kind of support, what will happen to African nations? Do you see? Because there's still inefficiencies of our government. Our governance is still broken, and so it's not sufficiently equipped to deliver public good and to solve pressing social problems. So that's what the NGO space does. Civil societies, advocacy groups, social enterprises, and social impact businesses. That's what they do. When I started out with my desire for social impact in 2012, I thought that I wanted to run an NGO. But by the time I got into Pan Atlantic University, I'd gotten this Coca-Cola Foundation scholarship. So I went into a social sector management program. I started to ask myself, by the time I was done with the program, well, why do I want to be one more NGO when I could strengthen the effectiveness of NGOs? I could use my consulting expertise, my learning management expertise, you see, to make them into organizations that are sustainable. And then I chose the higher path. I don't want to be one more NGO. I want to use my consulting and advisory expertise to make them effective as sustainable institutions.
Why are you so wise?
Why am I so wise? Nice. So that was the flip and we started Ideation Hub in 2015. So the short answer is take NGOs out, the degree of corruption, degradation, rot, and social crisis in Nigeria and in any African country will be so unbearable, that this whole Japa phenomenon will be eating it like bread.
Oh my God!
Yeah. So we need to build them. And my word to anyone listening on exclusives with Afolasade today is, in your own little way, if you find an NGO, support them, give to them, be part of building our communities, because that's the future of Africa.
Thank you very much.
A pleasure.
Do you hope to run for politics, government?
As of today, my core ideological solution to partner with government is to provide policy advisory, and that's what I already do with a few African countries.
Yeah.
So I'd love to consult more for African presidents and the key policy committees in terms of how we can build policies that reach the grassroots and are implemented in resourceful ways so that we're shrinking the budgets but we're expanding the impact. That's my primary thought. I might at some point get into selective office, not run for something, but be appointed for something in the days ahead.
DDK for president?
No, not president.
Okay, so what are some of the misconceptions people have about you?
I don't know, because I don't listen to misconceptions.
Yeah, do you know that I kind of find out weird that a lot of public figures say, oh, I don't listen to the black noise. Is that really true? You don't listen?
I'm being honest with you. Now, I can tell you some of the misconceptions. I can. But how did I discover them? Not by listening to the noise, by observing the impact of my personality on others. Do you see? And by observing the response that people could have about my leadership approach if I'm not careful. Do you see? So here's what I'm saying. I believe that a leader has to have their ears to the ground, but they have to carefully filter what they're listening for, who they are listening to and what they're using that data to do. So I can tell you with every sense of authenticity and truth when I say that I actually don't watch out for the misperceptions that people might have about me. No, I don't. That's not fuel for my journey. Do you see? No, I have an anchored sense of identity, and I continue to practice identity framing. I draw my reference from who God says I am, and I also intentionally invest in the kind of person I want to become. And the kind of person I want to become is a leader with an unbroken strength, but whose strength serves others and doesn't break them. So I want to be modulated by love. I want to be regulated by the values of the kingdom that I represent. And I also want to build people. I never want to break people. So I don't want to lose my strength, but I want to modulate my strength in a way that serves others. So Afolasade, here is the balance. I listen for if I'm being wrongly perceived or misunderstood by my associates, by the people who serve with me. I know that I'm a really strong person and God gave me because it's a tool for my calling, right? But I'm not listening out for who doesn't like me on Instagram, you see, or who thinks my own is too much. I don't care. I don't. How can I care? It's a disservice to what I carry to be weakened by someone who doesn't even know my journey. That's not fair on me, and it's not fair on God.
Yeah.
Right? But who do I listen to? I listen to my associates, those who are building the vision with me. I'm sitting over at least 5 different businesses and 2 ministries. And there are some of those organizations where the bulk of the work is done by excellent visionary leaders. They matter to me. If I come hard at them and I feel like, hey, that was too strong, they feel discouraged, I'm going to make it right. They matter to me. But a nameless person who's got data on Facebook, or who is hiding behind, an IG account that we don't...
Speed your fingers.
Yeah. No. You're not my business. You shouldn't be, you see. So there is something called the cadence of importance, and people, you must be able to categorize people into different key pillars in terms of the value that they add to you and the one you want to add to them. So I listen to my ministry associates, my business associates, my key stakeholders across our organizations, my core team of leaders, and even volunteers. Those ones matter to me. But the people I'm called to serve in the general, majority of humanity, no. I don't know. I don't focus on those things.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Did you ever say just like that you're living?
Yes. This is the life of my dreams. It's not perfect, but I love it.
You knew that at this time you were doing this.
Yes, I knew that much. Yes, I knew. In fact, the things God has shown me about my life, the next 5 years, the next 2 years, the next 10 years, become like the yardstick or the matrix with which I now test and judge how I am progressing in the path of the vision that He has for me. So yes.
Okay, so one question that I really want to know is how you balance it all. You're a mother to 3 kids.
Yes.
And I know your daughter. I heard her do like a spoken word thing.
The International Women's
So
Day.
amazing, so amazing. And you are a ministry youth, and you have all of these other assignments right in front of you. How do you balance it all? It's 24 hours really enough for you.
That's a great question. So to be honest, honor to whom honor is due. I know that some of my leaders are going to be watching this. My leaders at Kingdom Leaders Global Alliance, Firebrand Movement, Ideation Hub Africa, Immerse Coaching Company, Visionary Compass Accelerator Program, Future Forward Female Movement. Thank you. They make me really look good. My biggest investment in the last 5 years has been in leadership development, and I still want to make more concerted efforts in that direction. The true test of a leader is to raise other leaders. And that is the real work. The real work is not in all these sales funnels and sales pages and selling and marketing. Those things are great. But if you really want to build, if you want to build a legacy, you want to be a legacy leader, 100%, you have to continue to have a rich pipeline of leaders that you're building, that you're growing, that you're maturing. So I'm very vested in mentorship, discipleship, and leadership training. And how I balance it all is that I stay where it is my business to stay. My core assignment is to provide strategic direction. That's my number one core assignment. Receive from the Lord, stay and wait upon Him, and receive a blueprint for the things He wants me to do, and then codify revelation knowledge into strategic direction. Because what God tells you and what you tell the people is different. You have to codify it in a way that makes sense to them and they can do something with it. So my first key assignment is to create a system that allows me stay in God's presence and wait upon Him consistently, because I'm not smart on my own. I'm not that smart. I always need to be instructed and inspired. So I keep an open portal for divine inspiration in my life, and God meets me there, and I'm thankful to Him. And then I codify revelation knowledge into strategy. I'm excellent, a leader has to be, and I'm excellent at creating strategic blueprints and roadmaps. I create dummy-proof strategies. Even if you're not, if you feel like you're not smart, you will understand what I want you to do, and you will go that direction.
Yeah.
That's a key part of my leadership responsibility. A third part is what I've shared: building the leaders, investing in them, shaping their character and personality, helping them course correct where they're making mistakes, and validating them. So I puff my people up. Yes. Yeah, you know, because you're good, and I want you to know you're good.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then I make the investments, the financial investments. If I see this is the direction we should take, I'll put money behind it so that we can go there. So I'm a just steward of resources. Our wealth has grown so radically in the course of the last 2 years, but I'm not making big adjustments to my lifestyle, because I know the purpose of wealth is to be able to have longevity as a visionary. Do you see? I'm not trying to show off.
Shade left the group.
Shade left the group. Exactly. So I focus on my focus as a leader, and I'm thankful for that. I'm not in the active operations of a lot of my organizations. I stay on the strategic side of things, and it works.
Wow. When DDK said, I'm not that smart, I'm like, you are smart. Okay, the Mobalo Fashion Award.
Yes.
Amazing.
Thank you.
You know, I'm subscribed to your newsletter, so I receive all your newsletters.
Thank you.
So when you sent this, I think it was, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, and then you mentioned how much Morado means to you. I'm like, Godwin, you know, so amazing. So you decided to, you know,
immortalize her with the Mobalo Fashion Awards. Shout out to Morade Balogun. She's now an angel, and she is walking the streets of gold, having calls over with Jesus. She's flexing. I feel like despite how tough her transition was, every saint that transitions is now living in the future we all dream of, you know, and that's just what gives me comfort. But it's one of the toughest experiences I've had in my life. You know, the grief hit me so deeply in the belly that it almost crippled me. I couldn't even get out of bed some days, you know, in that season when she passed. And till today, to be honest, and it's not because she's now, you know, in heaven, I don't think I've met anybody like Morade Balogun. I haven't yet met one other person like her. How can someone be that epic? My God, she ticked off everything that stands out in my mind about what a fine human being looks like. Excellent at her work, extremely resourceful. She was my sounding board, my go-to person. She was my miracle in the flesh. And then after we do all the hard work, she knew all the places where we could go have fun in the city of Lagos. She'd be like, I'm going to go and paint your nails here, let's go. You know, and she was such a beautiful soul. And when we started the Mobile Fashion Awards, it was because we wanted to resonate with one of the areas of one of the areas or sectors of the economy that mattered a lot to Mo. She was a fashion enthusiast, and she even had a fashion consulting business. And that's why we started to reward early stage fashion entrepreneurs with the awards and the support, mentorship, and business training, just so that, you know, we get a chance to contribute to that sector and to let Mo know that, you know, she's always loved, always precious, always remembered. So we've got the Mo Balu Fashion Awards coming August of this year, alongside her birthday.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. I'm blown away, you know, by what you do. It's epic.
Thank you.
Have I really met DDK right now? Say epic. It's epic. So I think that's about it.
I want you to use the interview to talk about exclusives with Afolasade, you know. So yeah, like the reason that we do this is because, you know, I want to amplify the right values for the Nigerian youth, sell it,
okay,
tie it into something, and use it to now ask me, what are your final thoughts?
Okay, thank you. So, you know, this is the exclusives with Afolasade, where we have conversations with thought leaders, industry leaders about their struggles, their successes, their failures, and everything else they are willing to share. This exclusive Afolasade was sort of birthed by DDK. You know, I'd listened to you in a conference where you're saying in media we have to take charge, and I said I was going to start interviewing people to know their views on certain things in life, you know, the youth. But I didn't want it to be a regular random interview, you know. I wanted something that very purposeful, you know. You watch it and then you have an idea of what to do next, you know. I wanted to speak with people that have actual impact on people, and that's why I'm so happy that I'm doing this with you. I stalked DDK, you know. I'd gone to a church to ensure that she's on seat here today. So what when you see people do things like this, what comes to mind?
Yeah. So to be honest, I turn down interviews a lot because sometimes I feel like, I don't know if they're purposeful. So when I heard when you shared the vision, number one, your ability to break down your goals and the vision is epic. It blew my mind. I said, okay, she knows what she wants. She's clear on what she wants. This is not another opportunity to just, sometimes people are in media to promote their own selves. Whereas media is meant to amplify the truth, it's meant to amplify the right values. You see, it's meant to awaken a generation to something. And that's what I see with exclusives with Afolasade. With Afolasade, I feel like you want to amplify truth, you want to amplify impact, you want to get thought leaders to have vulnerable conversations so people get to see their lives and they can draw lessons that way. I truly feel proud of you, and I feel like in the coming days, partners just have to really buy into this vision, because if we can harness the mind of the youth, we can harness the future of any nation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to give you a hug. Are you Team Gen Z? You like the Gen Z generation?
So I love every generation. And
vibes.
I feel like there's something that the Gen Zs have that is going to radicalize, especially the continent of Africa. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of despair in our world. That's what's made us have the value drain, the brain drain, right? People have left Nigeria, people are leaving Africa because they feel a sense of despair and hopelessness. Feels like things are not working, feels like systems are breaking down, feels like political governance is getting worse, education is not working, and there's such unemployment and unemployability that it just looks so bleak when you think about the future. But what are the Gen Zs showing us? They're showing us that you can use the power of entertainment and creativity to awaken new hope. They're showing us that you can build a resilient spirit and you can laugh through even difficult times. They're showing us that with an entrepreneurial spirit, you can find your own way without being Omo Baba Olowo, and you can convert your passion into profit. You can walk your way out of adversity and poverty into wealth, prosperity. They're showing us that more than ever before, social media is an answer for not just advocacy, but also amplifying new thinking in the minds of people. Are there excesses? There are. But we can make a decision, to use all the lessons of the Gen Z to make a difference for ourselves today. So yeah, I'm with them, I'm on their side, and I'm grooving on their side. Yeah. I love it.
So I'm going to give you some words.
Okay.
Then I want you to sing with those words, like songs that people actually know.
That day is, my sister, day is where the challenge will come. Go tell me what I know already. Try me, I begin to give you worship songs. 100% we want more. Lord, I lift up Lomagbo. Try me. Why me?
Buga.
So what's Buga?
That's the word.
Buga is what? What's Buga? God. I want you to Buga. Golo, something like that.
Let me see. Go. You tried. Okay. Ozumba Mbadiwe.
Ozumba Mbadiwe.
Yay.
I'm also
Ferrari.
The one I know there might be another Ferrari, but the one I know is Awansare Ju Ferrari.
That's what I actually thought about. Amazing. It's been an amazing time with you, DDK.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you so
well
much.
Well done for all you do.
Until I come your way again, it's been an absolute pleasure meeting DDK, speaking with DDK, and us sharing a lot of wisdom. Please do subscribe, like, share, tell a friend that DDK is around. Okay. Until I come your way again next time. Bye.
You're looking, we're entertainment, do you understand? We're like cartoon characters. Hey, this one, that one, hey, how dare you, I hit her. But it's our lives, it's our real lives, do you understand? For every argument you see, it's real, it's actual emotions being spewed, for every insult that's like, that's my chest.